Welcome back to the channel, and this is a review of South Africa versus New Zealand. So a game everyone was absolutely salivating for, and it didn't disappoint, to be honest with you. The atmosphere before the game in Twickenham was looked absolutely blinding. It's one of those games you wish you were there. Great renditions of the national anthems from both teams, and Kolisi as ever absolutely belts out the South African anthem, and the haka is good, and it's let's go at this point. So if you remember the last outing between these two teams, New Zealand started really quickly, and it was very important that South Africa established that their pattern, if you want, early in the game, and they do that, and they have a bunch of lineouts and a bunch of scrums early on in the game, and that's really beneficial for them. New Zealand can't quite get their lineout defense right, and I'm sure Ryan, the coach, would not be happy with that, and they cough up a lot of penalties early on, so much so that the referee actually puts them on a warning. South Africa are willing to keep it tight and willing to put it wide. Williams has a chance, maybe he could have gone himself, and tries to put Mpimpi over in the corner, but doesn't work out, but it's back for a penalty advantage. After all this pressure, South Africa actually don't get any points out of it, and it's like the first 10 minutes of the match, New Zealand are completely under the cosh, and they eventually get a legit turnover at the lineout mole, which they must be very happy about at this point, because they've been under intense pressure, and it's a great opening to the match, very different to the opening that we saw last time. However, from a South African point of view, they must be so happy with the start that they've got. They've absolutely imposed their game plan on the New Zealanders, and they are struggling to deal with it. So yeah, it's New Zealand are going to have to do a lot, it looks like, early on to get out of this stranglehold that New Zealand have already, that South Africa have already got them in. New Zealand keep coughing up the penalties, and eventually the referees had enough. And I'm not sure how I feel about the way the ref just chooses a random guy, but Scott Barrett gets a yellow card for the repeated infringements of the All Blacks team. And it's fair enough in the overall scheme of things. New Zealand's discipline has really let them down in its first 20. But kudos to South Africa, because they put them under intense pressure to actually make them make those mistakes. So yeah, it's New Zealand down to 14 men. South Africa turned the screw, and of course, who else could it be? Kolisi shows gutsy determination to get over the line and plop it down for a score, and it's just desserts really for the pressure that South Africa have put on New Zealand, and they'll be very happy. Libbok, who really kicked well all day, I don't think he missed a kick today, and Jack will be very happy with that, and it's 7-0 to South Africa. New Zealand lose another player. I think it's Kane who's yellow carded this time, again for multiple infringements. This rule, I think, in general, there's a couple of things I don't really want to dwell on them, but a couple of cards I think were a little bit unnecessary. But yeah, at this point, New Zealand down to 13 men, so South Africa with a huge advantage here. New Zealand are trying to play some ball, but there's been the danger of interceptions all through the match, and they showed against Wales that South Africa are very capable of intercepting a try when under pressure, intercepting a pass when under pressure, and turning that into attack. And Arendse, who's lightning quick, and he shows it, he intercepts a ball and just accelerates off the mark, and he's in under the posts, and the ball kicks it, and it's 14-0 to South Africa. So New Zealand are attacking the South Africans just before halftime. The danger area, whenever you play New Zealand, they're always looking to score before the halftime whistle. And they're looking good, but foolish play from Scott Barrett. He clears out Marks, who's not even part of anything, like he's on the floor. And a really stupid play. And yeah, I'll say stupid. It was stupid. And Barrett has had issues with his discipline in the past, and I hope this is not a reoccurrence of bad habits, because he's done so well and played so well in recent internationals that he doesn't need to do this, and I hope it's just a flash in the pan and not a return to old ways. But he's off for the second yellow, and I don't know if it was regarded as a red, but I think it should have been. But there you go, he's off. So New Zealand not looking good. But just before the halftime whistle, New Zealand are not done. They put the ball out to Talia, who I thought had a great game. He's so difficult to put down. It's unbelievable. And he's against world-class opposition, but his game remains the same. He's just like a tough guy to bring down. And they set up a ruck, and Talia takes in. Eventually, the Iceman from Terminator, Will Jordan, gets over and scores a try, it seems, before halftime. But no. The TMO has spotted someone had the hair out of place, so they have to take it back and disallow the try. So I don't want to get in again to the TMO discussion, but yeah, I think they were more of a hindrance to watching a good game of rugby than a benefit today. They should keep their mouth shut, really, I think, unless they're asked. It's one of those situations. But there you go. It goes into halftime, 14-0 to South Africa. And straight off the whistle to start the second half, Beauden Barrett absolutely slices the ball into touch. South Africa get a very good attacking lineup straight off the bat in the second half. They do I think it's a front peel, and Khaleesi comes around the front, feeds it to Marks on the outside, and Marks is over, visually uncontested. And South Africa get another try. And it's looking pretty dire now for New Zealand, to be honest. And South Africa could have scored more points, but at the moment it's 21-0 to South Africa. New Zealand try to play their way back into the game, but the ball spills out of a ruck and Moody picks it up. He skins like 3 or 4 players and shows his confidence, and absolutely skins the entire New Zealand backline, gets over for a try. But wait, the TMO has something to say. And it's one of those ones again, it's like, why do it? Why bother? It wasn't any dangerous play or anything like that. It was marginal at best. And they've just robbed the crowd of a fantastic try, just like they did in the first half. And I think, again, unless you're asked, don't interfere in the game. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. So, Rassie has been on the bench of the South African team all through the match, and he's looking fired up. I think as the World Cup approaches, he's getting more and more animated, which is great. I love the guy. He's a hell of a character. And he Jack puts all 7 forward subs on at the same time. So I think it's only Peter Steph du Toit left on there, and they have a completely fresh pack against New Zealand, who are already struggling up front. And you just think, how are they going to deal with this? And as always seems to be the way, Steph du Toit, the only guy who is left on, maybe a little bit of tiredness, he kind of gets the tackle a little bit wrong, and makes some contact with the head, I think, shoulder head. It was a very marginal call, but he gets yellow carded with a review to the bunker. Again, bunker system, not bad. TMOs, But bunker system worked out pretty well for Steph du Toit this time, and it just remained a yellow, so he didn't get a red, so no threat of a ban, I think, and justified, I think. I think he made enough of an attempt at a legitimate tackle, and the tackle was a legal attempt, so yeah, no arguments with that. It's a stop-start after this point, and both teams can have lost their flow a little bit. Simple stuff from South Africa, they get a penalty, and Lebok absolutely pings the kick like 50 meters and gives South Africa an absolutely fantastic attacking line out. They haven't really run their attacking maul, line-up maul very well, or New Zealand defended it well, whatever is the case. But this time they destroy the New Zealand pack and power over. And yeah, Lebok again puts it over, and it's 28-0 in favour of South Africa. Most substitutions are made. Reinach, the only backline substitution, who's a scrum half, comes on the wing, you know, in place of Impimpi. I thought played pretty well. He looked sharp. And Roigard, who has a little bit of an impact later on, he comes on, Papali's on, and it's 15 minutes to go. So what can New Zealand do when they're down to 14 men? Let's wait and see. What I did like about Lebok's performance, he was chopsing or talking a lot to the other players, and I think he was giving them a lot of instructions. And you want your number 9 and your number 10 to be doing that. And I think, like, getting those kicks and playing as well as he did, he really looked the part today. I thought he, like, finally he's kind of broken the kind of the ceiling of his kind of potential. And I thought he looked really good today, you know. He's a kind of player, he's so good with ball in hand, and if he's getting his kicks and he's talking and bossing people around the pitch, I think he looks really good. So South Africa have got to be really happy with that. It's unknown at this point if Pollard will be back. Hopefully he will be for them. But Lebok now is a legitimate candidate to replace him, I think, after this game. Lebok pings another kick into touch. Great yards he's made with kicking the ball out of hand. And this time they do a back peel. And old Quagga, who's come on as one of those Magnificent Seven, he gets on a back peel this time and powers over, and it's 35-0. Pretty unbelievable, to be honest with you. So it's the last stage or stanza of the match, and New Zealand are trying to get something from it. They're flinging the ball about. It's not very measured or structured, but they've got to try something at this point. The ball falls nicely for Roigard, who I thought is an explosive player, and he proves it. He cuts through the middle, a great fend, a great handoff, and gets in under the post for to be honest, a consolation try for New Zealand. But at least he offered something from the bench for them. From New Zealand's perspective, they will be very concerned about how their line out disintegrated absolutely in the last kind of quarter of the match. They couldn't win a ball to save their lives, and the scrum was absolutely destroyed by the South African, the fresh 7 that come on. So their set piece was really shown up by the South Africans. And South Africans got the best set piece in the world, you know, arguably. But they will be very concerned about that, and will want to remedy that as soon as they can. But ultimately, that is how the game ends, and it is 35-7 to South Africa. Quite an emphatic victory for the Boks, and well deserved. You know, it could actually have been a little bit more. I think if New Zealand hadn't scrambled as hard as they did in the first 20, there could have been a couple of extra tries in there. So they did well to keep the score to that level, even though it was like a record-breaking score, I think. New Zealand, a couple of players played well, but up front they really got smashed, really crushed, and they were really crushed up front. The scrum was unbelievable, and yeah, they've got a lot of stuff to work on. And now South Africa, who've had like up and down, they've rotated a lot of players. They've really taken like 100% momentum from this. A very big win for them, and they will be like supremely confident going into the pool stages of the World Cup and defend the title. Let's go. Let's see more games like this, I think. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the World Cup now. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment especially. I love to read your comments. So yeah, cheers. Bye-bye.